Hi everybody, I'm Ranger MB from Lowell National Historical Park, and today we are going to do a project with Plarn. What is Plarn? Plarn is yarn made from plastic, and it looks like this. This is a plastic bag that I've made into something that I can do a project with. So this is regular yarn, and we're going to use this too. So what you're going to need to do this project is some yarn or some string, even kite string or fishing line will work. And you're gonna need a few plastic bags. And we're gonna get started. There's two different ways that you can make Plarn, and I'm gonna show you how to do both of them. When you get your plastic bag, what you're going to do is flatten it out as much as you can, straighten out the bottom, and then the first thing you have to do is take a pair of scissors and cut off the bottom. And then you're going to cut off right here where the handles are. I can't cut anything straight, so it doesn't matter if things are straight or not. And then open it up so you have kind of a tube, and flatten it out again, and then take your scissors and you're just going to cut lines down about an inch, inch and a half across all the way down. So now we have lots of these loops, and to put them together, you're going to take one loop, put it inside the other loop, and then take the end of that loop you put through, stick it through the other side of the loop, and pull it tight. And I'll show you that again. So I have my loop, I'm going to stick it through the other one, take the end of that, stick it through the other side of the loop, and pull it tight. And eventually I'll have one long strip. There's another way to make Plarn, and that's a single strip. And the advantage of this is that it lasts longer than the loops. You can make more. The disadvantage is it's a little bit harder to make, but I'll show you how to do that. So you're gonna go back to your bag, you're gonna cut the bottom off again. And you're gonna cut the handles off again. And you're going to open it up again. This time you're going to cut a spiral through the bag. So you're going to start at one point and kind of go down a little bit and then just start cutting. Now when I'm getting close to the end, I want to angle down a little bit so that I can start my next row. See that? And then keep going. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's straight, it doesn't matter if parts are wider than others. It all comes out great in the end. I'm coming back to the beginning, so I'm gonna go down a little bit more and then just keep going. And you're just gonna keep going until you get to the end. Almost there. It is easier to do this on a table than it is on your lap. First time I tried it on my lap, and I had a hard time keeping track of where I was cutting and where I was not cutting. And we have Plarn. Now I'm going to show you what to do with it. Now for our project, you're going to have to make yourself a loom. And I just used a cereal box and cut off part of it. And on each end, you're going to measure and mark 1 inch marks all the way across. And you're going to do the same end. And you can see here I was kind of playing. So I have 1/2 inch marks too, but you're going to mark every inch all the way across. And then you're going to take a pair of scissors and just cut in a little bit where each of those inch marks are. Only about a ½ inch. You can see I actually made a line there so I would know how far to cut down. It doesn't really matter. And you're going to do that on both sides. You're going to cut your marks on both sides. Now you have to do something called what we call warping a loom, and this is the hardest part of your day. You need some yarn, and we are going to string up this loom with the yarn. So the first thing you're going to do is put it through the first slit, just like that, but you're going to tape it on the back so it doesn't go anywhere. So you do need a little bit of tape. I'll just tape it anywhere. Sorry. And then we're going to go down to the bottom, go through the first slit, and then flip it over and go to the next slit and go back up. And then back to the top. And again, flip it over, go back through the next slit. Back to the bottom, up through the next slit, and back to the top, and then through the next slit, back down, and up through the next slit. And you're going to keep doing that all the way to the end. And then when you get to the end, you're going to cut it on the back and tape that part too. That'll just keep it from going anywhere. Okay? So now we have a warped loom and we are ready to weave. Now we're going to start to weave. I have my single strand that I'm going to start with, but I'm going to use my double strand too. You're going to start down at the bottom, tape your Plarn to the back again. And now we are going to take this and go over and under all of our threads that we already put on here. And I kind of balled this up to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go under the first one, over the second one, under the third one, then over the next one, under the fifth one, and then over, and then under, and over, and then under. And you can see I've got a whole row, and I kind of moved it down to the bottom a little bit. Now when I do my next row, I'm going to go over this one. See how I went under it? This time I'm going to go over it. I'm going to go over this one, under this one, and then over the next one, over this one, under this one, over this one, under this one. So if I went over it last time, I'm going under it this time. And if I went under it, I'm going over it. And I've got 2 rows now. Now when I go back, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the first row. So I'm going to go under the first one, over the second one, under, over, under, over, under, over, and then under. And you can see here I'm kind of pulling it too tight, so you want to make sure that you're pulling it apart a little bit as you go and keep squishing it down. You're going to need a lot of Plarn to do this project. You can also do a smaller project if you want and just use a smaller piece of cardboard. You can make any size you want. You can make it this big, you can make it this big, you can make it huge if you want to, but then you're going to need a lot of plastic bags. Well, I've rolled a few more rows, and you can see I'm running low. So I'm going to tie on my loops now, and I'm just going to tie a little knot onto my single strand. And that's all it takes. I can cut these if I want to. Cut the ends a little bit so they're not sticking up, and then we can go back. First of all, though, I'm going to roll this into a little ball, just on my hands. Now I just went over, so I'm going to go back under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. And I'm going to keep doing this for a little while. Okay. All right, so I'm almost done. As I'm going through the end, I didn't actually make this strand into a strand until I started working with it. Made it a little bit easier to weave. And I've been going back and forth, back and forth. I've used 3 bags total for this project, 2 made with loops and 1 made doing the spiral cut, so it's single, and that's the gray. You notice I'm pushing it down a little bit as I go, and you'll also notice that I tend to pull it a little tight. So I've gotten much tighter as I go along, and that's kind of normal for weaving, especially if you're just starting out. So a few more passes and we will be ready to finish this off. Another strand on. All right, one more, and then I'm going to show you how to take it off of your cardboard. Now, if you go to the back, you've got these strands that go across, and you can just peel that up and peel it off. And then with the last one that's taped, if you take it out from the tape, and I'll show you what to do with that one in a minute. And then you're going to do the other side. And I just took that off, and I'm just going to cut that. So here we are. Now this side, I had it pretty tight on the bottom, so I don't need to do anything with that, and I can actually just leave that piece hanging down a little bit. Now at the top, I've got a little bit of extra space, so this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do, so this means you can stop your project at any time. If you get halfway up your piece of cardboard and you want to stop, that's okay. Take it off just like that. Cut the 2 pieces and tie them together. And just do that all the way down. Now for the last loop, I'm actually going to tie it to this last hanging strand. And here we have our cute little mat. I can cut my last piece here, trim my ends, and I have made a Plarn mat. You can make this as big or small as you want. You can make it big and fold it up, sew up the edges, and make it into a purse. You can make it really big and actually turn it into a rug. There are people who make these into rugs. You can do all sorts of things with Plarn. And since we all have so many plastic bags right now, this is a great way to reuse them and recycle them and save a little bit of trash from going into the landfill. So when you're doing this, you're being green, and we always appreciate that. Send us pictures of your Plarn creations. Have a great day.